after that night, I woke up, and that was the day I was like, okay, God, I'm done. I hurt so many people. I acted a fool. I've put myself in danger, put other people in danger. I'm over it. I can't do this on my own. I need your help. I can't break this addiction. Welcome back to the Men's Podcast. If you're new here, my name is TimBohner. I was born in poverty near the dumps of Guatemala, but I was given a second chance at life, and now I'm on a mission to awaken men in this generation. Too many men have become complacent, so often forgotten who they are. I hope to inspire men to take ownership of their health, family, and lead their kids by example. Go to 317wellness.com to get started on your fitness journey. Welcome back, guys, another episode. In today's episode, we're talking about fatherhood, right? Today is Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to those dads out there who are working hard, providing for the families, being present and staying active in your family home. You guys deserve this day because I know as a father myself, it's not easy. And for those who are struggling, I just want to give you encouragement. It's never too late to start changing who you are. You don't have to be your past. You can change the trajectory of your lineage. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Just a little bit of my story and just how I used to be 10 years ago. I wasn't ready to be a dad. So let's rewind it back. I'd say about 10 years ago where I was just immature. I wasn't ready. I wasn't taking life serious. All I cared about was myself. All I cared about was just drinking and partying on the weekends, show up to class during college, hungover, drinking from Thirsty Thursday, all the way through Monday morning when I show up to class. But feeling like this is the life. I love this high. I love this feeling. But honestly, it was destroying every bit of me inside. I owe it to God because he's the one that has helped me break this path. I wouldn't be able to do it myself because I was addicted. I was addicted to alcohol. Like I said, I was drinking from Thursday all the way to Sunday evening and showing up to class drunk or hungover, So I was very immature. I lived for the weekends, drove drunk, drove people insane because they couldn't be around me because I was just a jerk. This false reality of just feeling alive. And it took many hard lessons over my life, over the 5-6 years that I went through some trials in my life to really wake me up. I had to drop out of college because I got arrested back on spring break because of my stupidity. I was choosing the wrong path. I continued that cycle of drinking for years. But it took that moment when I was in college where I was locked up. I was thrown in a jail cell for almost about a month, not knowing when I'd go home because I'd never been in this system. So I remember when we went out there, like my friends had to leave because they had to get back to their lives. And I don't blame anybody but myself for the actions that I committed. No one was holding the gun to my face and saying, drink this, you know what I mean? Like, no one was doing that. It was my choice, my decisions, my actions that led me into the place that I was at that time. But when I was in there, I remember how painful it was to lose everything, to lose my freedom. If you've never been in jail for more than a day or a week, you wouldn't understand this. You don't understand when you're in there that everything that you take for granted out here is gone. The ability to walk outside on your own is gone. The ability to be on your own is gone. You're in the jail cell with someone else 24/7. The ability to just listen to music on your own is gone. Everything that you take for granted out here is completely gone. And that's what I remember the most. I remember sitting in my cell, top of the bunk, just looking out in the palm trees and just wondering, why am I here? How did I end up here? But the thing was, it wasn't me magically appearing there and I was there. Is the actions and the habits that I was creating that led me there. And it was a long month. I cried out to God constantly because, well, first of all, I was very angry at God. I blamed him. Things could have been different. Something else could have happened differently. I didn't have to land here. I was blaming him for what I had caused. And that's the thing. We blame everyone for our mistakes except for ourselves. You know, we blame our environment. We blame people around us. But no, it's us. We choose our habits and our actions. So that was the biggest turning point. And I'm going to have to get into another podcast more detail what happened in there just as I was in there that whole month and what I've learned. So that was a big lesson there that I learned, was just how easily life can be taken away from you. And I come from poverty, a place where no one gets out. By the grace of God, my brothers and I came to the U.S. because of my mother dying. That was God's plan. And some people may think that, why does God allow suffering? Sometimes God allows suffering because he has a new chapter. He has something that he's bringing out of from that suffering. And even though my mother died, she knew God. She wanted a better life for us. She would talk to this missionary that was out in Guatemala that my mom became friends with. And I believe that my mom was a believer. At least that was what the missionary said. But I know in my heart she was. And even though she had died, and that was a painful experience, my brothers and I were able to come here in the U.S. and have a whole new opportunity to live our lives, to have what we have, to have this right here, this moment right here where I get to speak to an audience, where I get to make an impact in my life, where I'm able to choose a different trajectory for my kids. That God has given me this opportunity to achieve my highest potential, to go after my goals and my dreams, because I didn't deserve this at all. It's by God's grace and his alone that my brothers are here. So whenever I get complaining, whenever I get upset or frustrated with my life, I remember, God reminds me, hey, Tim, I didn't have to give you any of this. You don't have to have your family. I didn't have to give you your wife and your kids. And that shuts me down real quick. So I know that I have the opportunity to do things right in my family home, which I'm so thankful for, that God has developed who I am now. Because there have been so many moments that I should have been dead. So many moments that that I shouldn't have had this life. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. Another turning point in my life was probably this is the last straw, because I continued to drink after I got out of the jail. I didn't learn my lesson. That's what I'm talking about, the addiction. There was an addiction that I had to break, and it wasn't by my own doing. I can't break my own addiction. God was the one that has broken this addiction. But he had to put me in some difficult situation so that I can learn my lesson. And I'm thankful that I learned my lesson, because there are a lot of people that aren't fortunate enough to learn the lesson, to continue the cycle, continue the patterns, continue the addiction. But I was able to learn through these incidents so that I can continue to develop as a man. So that second incident that happened was when I was at a party. It's a 4th of July party. I was drinking, partying, just doing the same old thing, being unwise, not caring, not remembering what God has given me, and just throwing it all away again. Next morning, July 5th, I woke up hanging out of my truck with the keys in the ignition, ready to take off. That night, by somehow, some way, I was knocked out and I was just hanging there. How in the world? I don't remember ever getting into that truck or trying to leave. I don't remember that. I blacked out. And that's what I'm saying. If God is trying to wake you up, listen. Don't allow incidents like this to happen in your life to where you're almost on death row. Listen to what I'm saying. Give your addictions, your vices over to God, because he's the only one that can break the cycle. Because you can't do it on your own. You can get help, but it is God that will break it and use it for good. So I remember just waking up laying there, and I'm like, what the heck? You want to know what the sad thing is? Because I was so addicted, was I continued to drink that day and went downtown to Mass Ave, I believe, and was continuing to drink. And I remember driving down there, bumping into a car, like a parked car, because I was drunk or I was buzzed, and the cops having to come out. But I just can't fathom why I continued to do this to myself. But that happened. I remember the cops coming. I was at this hotel lobby right where my truck was at, threw some mints in my mouth because I couldn't do it. I couldn't go back to jail. I had to act cool. And then they came in and like they just had to write the report. That was it. I got lucky. But God was speaking to me that night. He was telling me, stop. I'm showing you these situations, these incidents of what's happening. You're still going. You're still doing it. And I continued to party downtown. And, seeing an ex down there and acted a fool. I almost got arrested again because I was almost getting in a fight down there. It was another guy. But that day, that night, after that night, I woke up. And that was the day I was like, okay, God, I'm done. I hurt so many people. I acted a fool. I've put myself in danger, put other people in danger. I'm over it. I can't do this on my own. I need your help. I can't break this addiction. And God was there, ready to wrap his arms around me. That's the thing about God. He wants us to come to him as we are, no matter what you've done, no matter what pain you've been through. He's there, ready to wrap his arms around you and just tell you, it's okay. I still love you. I still have plans for you. I have a purpose for you. That love surpasses all understanding when a heavenly father or father can love you despite the harm that you've caused. And that's where God really started developing me and helping me through the mess that was inside. It took many years to just really just sit alone and really learn how to depend on God completely. I went through so many trials through those years to really fully walk with God and rely on him completely. He was teaching me it's all about your habits. It's all about how you carry yourself. I've told people that there's nothing comes good from drinking. There's nothing. You either lose sleep, you lose time, you just act a fool. There's nothing good. I felt like that's the number one thing that had to go. I had to let go of the drinking. I had to let go of alcohol to really allow God to help me step into this man that I am today. It took a lot of years to be a man of discipline, a man of true character, a man who works hard and gives. That wasn't me 10 years ago. And now that I've stepped into a role of being a father, I understand how important it is to make sure that I am the best man that I can be for my family and for my kids. And that's through being physically active, through spiritually walking with God. That's through emotionally being there for my kids and my wife. Being your best self is letting go of yourself and giving yourself to God and giving yourself to those you love. That's what being your best self is working on becoming a better man, becoming a better father. So if you're still drinking, you're still partying, you're still doing all these things, and you have kids in the family, remember your kids will repeat the same patterns and will follow your footprints. What kind of footprints do you want them to walk in? What kind of man do you want your daughter to marry? What kind of man do you want your son to be? I definitely don't want my kids to be the man, or my son to be the man that I was 10 years ago. I definitely don't want my daughter to be with the man that I was 10 years ago. Do you understand now? Do you understand that you have a huge responsibility? You have a purpose. Because God doesn't call us to be undisciplined. He doesn't call us to not have self-control. He doesn't call us to be average, complacent. He calls us to live our life to the best of our abilities in every area. And that's what I strive for. That's what I do every single day. That's why I do my morning routine every single day. That's why I meditate and allow God to work in my life in the mornings. The first thing in the morning, every day, I'm with God. So today, as I celebrate Father's Day and realize how blessed I am to be in this role, I thank God that I get to experience this, that I get to do things right with my kids and my family, and that I get to teach my kids a different path. I get to be the example. I get to teach them the lessons that I've learned and hope that they don't make the same mistakes that I do. That I get to teach my kids that hard work and discipline is what creates freedom in their lives. As you can see around you, there's so many dads out there who have lost who they are because of marriage and raising the family, because of being unhealthy and choosing bad habits. They have become complacent, but it's never too late to start working. That's why I say all the time, you can get started right now. Spiritually, emotionally, physically. That's how you begin. It's been a good day, and I will definitely remember this day. Because as the years go by, God is growing me into fatherhood, into being a better man. And that's what I wish for you, is that God continues to develop you and continues to grow you as a man. And that's why I say you got to spend that time with him. Because he will speak to you if you allow him to speak to you. He is there if you allow him to be there. I hope that this inspires you to just start working on you. There's a greater purpose for us being dads. We're raising the next generation. How are we going to raise the next generation? Are we going to raise a generation of weak kids? Or are we going to raise a generation of strong kids, strong men and strong women? That's our duty and that's our responsibility, because they will learn how to do it through us. That's going to be it for this episode, guys. Until next time, achieve your highest potential. We will see you in the next video. Peace.